Welcome back to the channel, Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and today we're going to take a look at the message from Games Workshop about shipping dates, and also take a look at another little surprise from them as well. So don't miss the final Christmas ordering dates. So GW posted up an article on Warhammer Community, essentially just saying, hey, you got to order by these shipping dates if you want to get your stuff in time for Christmas. Obviously, they felt this necessary because they have waited till the last minute to release all of these box sets. So we'll take a look at the video that they posted up as well. But real quick, just want to look at the actual last shipping dates for Christmas 2022. So depending on what country or region you're in, the cutoff dates are different. So obviously Australia and New Zealand, the cutoff date is the 4th for December or 12th for Forge World. We see the rest of the world is the 5th for December. And then USA, Canada, 9th of December. France, Europe, basically 12th, 13th, 14th, all the way up to UK, which is the 20th of December. You might prefer a stroll in the brisk winter air, however, and fancy doing your shopping in person at one of the many lovely Warhammer stores around the world. If so, you'll need to be aware of the opening times of your local store. You'll still be able to buy from them and from thousands of friendly local game stores if the shipping dates pass. Just use the store finder below to check out your local store, get in touch and find out if their opening hours are. So the only issue with this is, or one of the main issues with this is, I'm obviously located in the United States and the cutoff date is the 9th of December. But the pre-order date is the week before that, and then the actual release date is the 10th of December. So basically what GW is saying is, you better lock down a copy of whatever you want at your local store, or order it directly from Games Workshop, or you're not going to get it in time for Christmas. So that's a thing. It's definitely a thing. But let's see, they put out a little video as well. Typically try to break the ice and be funny and everything. Go ahead, Games Workshop. Tell us what you really think about us.
Picture this. It's the night of the 23rd of December, 2022. You're tired, it's snowing, and you're well on your way to earning a place on this year's naughty list. Because you still have not bought your Christmas Warhammer! Well, good news! We have predicted that terrible people like you might need a little Christmas help. And so Warhammer stores have absolutely volunteered to stay open until this day. So you can scramble in, purchase your annual Bundackersnaswagen, and out you get. And if even that is too much effort, or you've just woken up to this video on Christmas morning, you can get gift vouchers up to and including on Christmas Day. It's all the magic of Warhammer without foisting your terrible decision-making on other people. So there you have it. All the information you need to make this Christmas as Warhammer-emery as it could possibly be. From me, James Workshop. Have a very merry Christmas.
Alright, so that's their little cringe release trailer that they put out there. I basically just wanted to touch on this and just kind of mention that. But the truth is, a lot of people have been requesting or asking me to do a video on the price increases. I'm not sure if people have heard about this yet. So basically, Games Workshop sent out this message to their customers. Dear customer, we are writing you in order to give notice of an approximately 5.8% increase in Games Workshop trade prices on selected products, including all plastic box sets and paints. So right off the bat, let's break that down. When they say dear customer, they're talking about a retail store, basically, like your friendly local game store. From what I understand, these were only sent out in England, which also makes perfect sense, and we'll get to exactly why. So the 5.8% increase to the trade prices means that the prices for the stores are going to basically be less of a discount. So previously, a store would basically get a 40% discount roughly off of Games Workshop product. Now, the prices of those products from Games Workshop, instead of being a 40% discount, they're going to be the equivalents of 5.8% less discount. It also says increase in Games Workshop trade prices on selected products, and then says including all plastic box sets and paints. So all their plastic box sets and paints are essentially not going up in price for what a consumer would pay, but going up in price for what the, reseller would pay. This will take effect on the 19th of December, so Merry Christmas to all the retail locations out there. Please note this increase will not have any impact on the RRPs of our products. Kind regards, Games Workshop Trade Team. So that last line is the best line of the whole thing. Please note that this increase will not have any impact on the RRPs of our products. So the retail resale price of the product is going to stay the same. Games Workshop's not actually raising its prices that they recommend, or the MSRP that they recommend that you sell products for. No, they're not doing that. What they're actually doing is they're just closing the gap some between the retail location's discount and that final price. So the idea here, and a lot of people have misunderstood what this means. They're basically acting like now that all these places are going to have to raise their prices above MSRP, and this is going to drive sales onto Games Workshop's website, etc., etc. But this is all a fallacy. It's all completely wrong. What's actually going to happen is the opposite. The price stays the same on the top end, but the discount that the resellers offer to customers will go down because their margins will get cut. If previously they were getting something at a 40% discount and then they were reselling it at a 20% discount, and now they're going to get it at a roughly 34% discount, they're less likely to still sell it at the 20% discount because it eats away at the store's margins, their profits, the money they make off selling those products. So they're less likely to discount the product as much. So people are wondering why this is happening, speculating, saying this is to, again, drive sales to Games Workshop's website. None of that is the case. That is 100% not what this is designed to do. This is literally designed to close the gap so these companies stop offering as much of a discount to their customers, which is already restricted. So if Games Workshop already restricts in the UK, for instance, you're only allowed to discount your product 20% and advertise that 20% discount for sale. So you online or in a newspaper, however you're advertising, a Facebook ad, whatever. So if you're only allowed to discount your items 20%, why are they doing this if there's already a restriction on what you're allowed to sell it for? And this comes back to an issue I have brought up over and over again, countless times. So let's jump over to Games Workshop's website and take a look, and I can prove my point. All right, so here we are on Games Workshop's web store. I'm on delivering to the USA right now, Battle Forces. And it's $210 for all the Christmas Battle Forces. So now let's jump over here, and so we're just going to go to rest of EU. All right, so now here we are. We have 170 euro. So it was $210 or 170 euro. And now let's go over to the UK. All right, so here we are in the UK. So it was 210 in the USA, 170 in euros, and 130 in British pounds. So now we're just going to jump over here to our regular old currency calculator. All right, so the best way to do this is we're going to go ahead and take our euro and convert that into dollars. So 1 euro equals $1.04. So we know the box sets are 170 euro. So if they were pricing the box sets based on the actual exchange rate, the same for United States as they are for Europe, the box sets would cost $176 here. Instead, they cost $210. And now let's do the same thing for the British pound as well. All right, so here we have pound sterling to US dollars, and we know it was 130 pounds sterling. So if Games Workshop was pricing the box sets based on the exchange rate from the British pounds price into dollars, instead of paying 130 pounds, we would pay $156. But instead, we're paying $210. So essentially what's going on is, and you can argue a lot of things like, import taxes, all this stuff. But the truth is, anybody that knows about how business works, international situation, in the UK, they have a 20% VAT tax, value added tax. So anything they sell in the UK is taxed at 20%. Toys and things like that Games Workshop falls into, coming into the United States, is taxed at 6%. So there's 14% less tax if they take their products and sell it in the United States than if they sell it in their own country. So they raise the price even though they don't have to pay the VAT tax, even though it's not linked directly to the exchange rate. And then the next argument is, well, it's the shipping because they have to ship it. Well, I mean, how much does it cost to ship a container from the UK to United States? And how many boxes can you fit in there? Because I promise you, if you take it and you break it down and you say 130 pounds sterling or $156, I'm pretty sure, as a matter of fact, I know for an absolute fact, even after paying taxes and shipping a single box set, let alone an entire shipping container or multiple shipping containers loaded with pallets, loaded with box sets, that when it's all said and done, you're going to be able to do it for less than $50. So if the box set should be $156 and instead they're charging $210, that means they're basically charging $53 for the 6% import tax and shipping. And then the rest is basically just Games Workshop USA or, rest of the world tax. So that is where the actual issue falls now, is because what has happened, and it's important that you understand all that so that we can understand what is going on here. So going back here to the letter they sent out, and this has only been sent out so far to UK customers. So why are they only raising the prices on UK stores? Because what's happening right now is the gap is so big between the actual exchange rate in the UK and Europe, or the actual exchange rate in the UK and the United States, that people are arbitraging the gap, which makes perfect sense. Whenever there's an inefficiency in the market's job is to make that efficient. So what happens is some entrepreneur steps in and says, wait a minute, I can buy these things. Say you're a store in the UK, you get a 40% discount. So you can buy $100 worth of product for basically $60. So then you take that product, you load up a shipping container or, a few pallets or whatever, and then you ship that product to the US, and then you just sell it in the US. Or better yet, you go on a site like Amazon or eBay, and then you put your listings up there, and then people can purchase through, eBay International, and essentially, circumvent the system from Games Workshop. So Games Workshop can't lower the prices in the United States or lower the prices in, the Eurozone, because obviously that would cut into their margins. They're not going to make things cheaper in the other countries, even though their currency is getting weaker relative, which is what you should do. You should adjust seasonally, whether it's every quarter, every 6 months, every year, etc. Unfortunately, Games Workshop has had a strong pound sterling for so long that now that it is weak and it's crumbling, they don't want to allow the gap to close between that. So they still want to take advantage of the 1.5 or 1.75 or 2-to-1 ratio that historically the pound has had to the dollar. So the way they're doing that is they're leaving the prices the way they are, and then they're raising the prices on the UK people, saying if we close the gap between the margin of what the UK people are buying the product for, that makes less of a profit margin. Therefore, it closes part of the arbitrage gap. So it doesn't mean it's going to stop altogether, because obviously we take a look at it and it's basically $53 per box to ship in the United States. So if after paying a 6%, tax, which on a roughly $200 box, let's say, is $12, and then after paying your shipping, if you can ship it here for, somewhere around $50 or, $48, somewhere around there or lower, well, there you have it. You can basically ship to the United States, sell your product, still make more money. And even if you weren't making more money, even if you're just making the same amount of money, you're drastically opening up the market to who you can sell to. So the truth is, this is not designed to push sales to Games Workshop's website, because it makes no difference. I mean, it's arguably, it could a little bit. Like, say, for instance, you're used to buying your items in the UK for 20% off. And now because the store has to pay 5.8% more, now they're only selling them for 15% off. So now maybe you're like, well, for 15% off, it's not worth it. I'll just go to Games Workshop's web store and buy the products. Yeah, right. It's just not going to happen. So the idea here is Games Workshop doesn't want to change the policy to make it so stores can't sell at 20% discount anymore, which in the United States it's 15, in UK it's 20. So they don't want to change that part of their policy. So what they're doing is they're closing the gap from the other side. So they're saying, oh, okay, some of you guys want to get tricky. We'll close the gap. We'll make it less profitable for you to arbitrage the markets, and stop this efficiency from taking place because it's costing them money. Because essentially what ends up happening is if they sell a product in the United States at that inflated value, they make substantially more money. Even just selling to the retailers at the discount, if you have a box priced at $210 for say, and you're going to sell it to your retailer in the United States for 40% off, you're going to take off, basically like $88 off of that. So the $210 box is really $122. So Games Workshop can sell that box to someone in the United States for $122. But if they're selling to someone in the UK and they're priced at 130 pounds and they're only getting 40% of the 130 pounds, they're really basically taking $52 off of that. So they're basically only selling the box at $78. So they could sell a box at 78 pounds to someone in the UK, or they could sell it for, over 120 to someone in the United States. and over 50% of their sales is coming from the United States. A lot of it comes from Europe. It's spread out, obviously. You can see the breakdown on Games Workshop's annual report, essentially saying exactly what percentage of what comes from where, their online store, local, United States, etc. So I just wanted to make this video because a lot of people had requested it. A couple other content creators had done a similar video and just completely missed the point. Obviously, my background is in business management, sales, marketing. I've double major, multiple college degrees, experience in the real world running businesses. So I understand a little bit better how the international business portion of this works than, say, like your average creator out there who's just saying, oh, this is just to make all the sales go onto the website because Games Workshop is mean. It's much more maniacal than that. It's actually about Games Workshop essentially taking a backdoor way to try to stop people from essentially taking advantage of the world market because Games Workshop is taking advantage of the world market. This is specifically only happening in the UK, at least for now, specifically to stop those UK buyers from being able to discount profits as much and still maintain the same profit margin. Now, unfortunately, that will never work, because there will always be someone out there that's willing to sell at 20% off if they're allowed to and just make less money, because they know if everybody else is selling at 15%, everybody will come to them, so they'll get a bunch of extra volume. So it's worth making less on each item if you're overall making more because more people are coming to you. So that's exactly what this is all about, is basically trying to stop that. But we know already it's not going to work, because there's always going to be someone that's going to be willing to do it. And that extra 5.8% is not going to stop the massive, massive gap that's going on, between the euro, let's say, and the pound, 130 versus 170 versus the dollar at 210. When we do the actual breakdown and we see what they should be appropriately priced at, there's really no excuse for Games Workshop. I can get pricing things a little bit higher in other countries further away. You have to make sure you take account of your shipping costs. You have to make sure you take account of currency fluctuations and potential, situations, etc. But the fact of the matter is, there's a difference between protecting your business and protecting your margins and completely taking advantage of other markets around the world. And now I hear everybody complaining about this, and I feel for you. Don't get me wrong, it's terrible whenever GW raises prices. I really feel for their retail stores that have to pay the price on this, that aren't doing anything wrong, or quote unquote creating these efficiencies in the market. It's hard for basically anybody in the United States or Europe or Australia, New Zealand to feel bad for the UK having to pay an extra 5.8%. I mean, obviously I feel for you and everything, but the truth is, you guys already have it so good. All it's doing is closing the gap just a tiny itty bitty little bit. So to hear the UK people complaining about this 5.8% and talking about how it's going to put stores out of business and they're not going to be able to sell product as discounted, go to Games Workshop, make a stink, say it loud, organize, let them know, hey, this is BS. We know what you're doing here. But the fact of the matter is, when it's all said and done, I just wanted to give a clear reasoning explanation as to why this is all taking place, because I did hear a lot of confusion in the community. A lot of people are talking about it, wondering why I haven't done a video on it yet. Trying to be positive and everything, especially around Christmas season. I don't like ragging on Games Workshop all the time, but obviously when they do something wrong, they deserve to be called out on it. And this is wrong right before Christmas too. It's a really dirty move, but the truth is, we know exactly why this is happening. They're doing this to stop people from arbitraging the difference internationally, because they're taking advantage of the currency exchange rate. Even though it's not favorable to them, they're still pretending like it is. Don't worry, it's only 5.8%, but we're not changing the RRPs at all, so the customers aren't going to have to pay more. So the truth is, what Games Workshop is basically saying is, hey, we're going to squeeze your margins a little bit, and if you don't like it, you go ahead and charge your people more or discount the product less, but that's on you. And for a company that already has ridiculously high margins, to me, this is pretty disrespectful. So here's Games Workshop's financials real quick. And obviously people have always talked about their margins. Well, we can see right here, their profit margin in 2017 was 26.8%. In 2018, it was 25.6%. In 2019, it was 26.4%. So historically, it's around 25-26%. Well, in 2020, their profit margin was 33%. And then in 2021, it was 31%. So we don't have the 2022 numbers yet, But if their average profit margin is around 25, 26%, and now it's at 31%, and then on top of that, they want to squeeze extra margin out of the middleman stores, aka, the friendly local game store, etc. They want to squeeze an extra almost 6% out of them. Is it to pad Games Workshop's margins? Or again, is it to try to address the greater issue? So that's it for today. You guys let me know what you think. Always like to hear your opinions. If you're into these daily videos, reactions, reviews, news, painting, modeling, conversion tutorials, make sure to like and subscribe for Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team, Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, Warkai, Horus Heresy, all that good stuff. But that's it for today. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and I'm out of here.